Hi, it's Kirsten. In this video, we're going to go over some foam rolling strategies for the hips. Now, a lot of you actually do foam rolling for the hips, but maybe this video can actually show you a couple of new ways to do it or potentially finesse the way you're already doing them. I'm going to give a couple of variations as well to make things a little bit more intense or a little less intense, depending on how tight your muscles are and whether it feels painful to roll that muscle tissue. So let's begin with the glutes. Now, many clients will be rolling their glutes kind of like this. Okay, so they're rolling towards their sits bones, or maybe they're rolling like this. Potentially a better way, and where you're going to find a few more trigger points, is a little higher. So let's take our hands behind you. We're going to move our feet slightly forward. Now, the key is to drop your knees to the side so your pelvis is around 45 degrees to the bolster. And then we're going to roll quite high up on the glutes. We're not going to go past where the hip crest is, where the pelvic bone stops, where you get into like the soft area of your back. We don't want to go up there and roll up there because there's nothing really to roll against and you can hurt yourself. So we're going to roll back and forth, and you can see I'm moving my knees a little bit lower and then back to that 45-degree position, and then a little bit higher again. And usually one side is quite a bit tighter than the other. So we're going to roll about 1 minute. People ask me, how long ideally should I be rolling for? I actually don't recommend rolling too long or on too hard a roller. So this is a fairly soft roller that I like to use with my clients. It doesn't tend to bruise the tissue. So try and roll about 1 to 2 minutes on each area. So let's say that was my left hip, and then I would go over to my right hip. So I will just kind of roll that side now while we're talking about some of these strategies. If you find that you've been doing it where you cross your leg over and then roll into the glutes, you might find that this one gives you a little bit more, like I said, to those upper glutes. Now, let's do another one where we're going to do the external rotators of the hips. So this is, a lot of you may have heard of the piriformis. It's one of those muscles. There's actually 6 muscles that externally rotate the hip, but we're gonna kind of target the majority of them. So cross your leg over your knee, the ankle of the knee if you can comfortably. And you're gonna lower again the knee, and then you're actually, versus rolling quite high, which we just did with the upper glutes, you're gonna go behind that hip bone. So usually you'll feel an area like, oh yeah, that's it, that's where it feels tight. You never wanna roll on your bone, like you wouldn't wanna roll on your knee because it's just bone and tissue. You want to roll kind of in the meat of the muscle. So we're going to always drop the cross leg down to the floor and then roll that area. Okay. So again, I might not hit 1 minute with each demonstration, but I just wanted to show you potentially a different way of doing them that you might not have thought of. So let's go to the other side and cross over. Drop that knee down, twist my head around so I can still look at you, and rolling the other side. So again, don't go too high, you won't get there, and don't go too low where you're on your sits bone, you're rolling your sits bone. That's not where we would kind of want to be. We want to be about halfway in between there. And again, you can see that my pelvis is lifted. It's hard to see maybe with the black pants on, but it's lifted up. Okay, so again, it's around, I don't know, about 40 degrees or so to the bolster, okay? And then I can really feel a nice release into those external rotators of the hip. Now, let's do another muscle group that attaches onto the pelvis. So pretty much what we're doing today is releasing all the muscles that attach onto the pelvis. Let's do the quads. So a couple of different ways of doing the quads. We're going to do them both together at the same time. So we can roll like this. And you can see that my legs are pretty well straight. And I'm also lifting up my tummy. I don't want to sag into my stomach. It's really bad for your back, so please don't do that. And I'm gonna roll back and forth. I'm kind of rolling in the center of my quads here, which is great. Now I'm rolling fairly in the middle of my thigh. I'm not rolling up towards my pubic bone at the moment. I'm rolling in the middle of my thigh, and then I could actually walk up a little bit and roll towards my knees. Do not roll on your kneecap, okay? That would be terrible. So we just wanna roll towards the knee and then towards the middle of the thigh, again for about a minute or so. Now, if you find that you have areas of the thigh that are tighter than others, for instance, the outer thigh, you can put both toes down and then lift up and like kind of rotate your toes so they're facing inwards, and that will get more of the outer part of your thighs. And you can also try putting your toes back down, lifting up, and then turn out your feet to get into the inner parts of your thighs. And a lot of us have quite a few trigger points, like muscle knots in that area. So that's a little alternative. And that way I'm getting more of a muscle called vastus medialis. And then when I turn my feet the other way, when they were pointed in, I can get a little bit more of the vastus lateralis. So rolling through there and releasing the quad muscles. Now, if you've been doing this and you think, oh, I've already done this, Kirsten, well, let's try crossing the leg over. So I'm gonna roll out my one leg that's on the bolster. I'm taking the other leg, crossing it over, and then rolling back and forth. So now I've got the weight of the one leg on top of the other leg, and it makes it much more intense. And actually this way I can kind of roll around on that thigh muscle a little bit more and get to the whole thigh muscle and really get into releasing it, especially for those clients that tend to hold so much tension in their quad. Okay, let's get off those quads and then go on to your tensor fascia lata, which is this muscle here. Many of you get tight in the front of your hip. So the front outside of the hip. This muscle is a fan-shaped muscle. It has a bit behind the hip bone and a little bit in front of the hip bone. And it's really, really common to get tight. Many people forget to do this one or don't know to do this one. So imagine if I had pockets in these pants and I slid my hands into my pockets. That's where I'm rolling out, right there. Okay, so how do I get there? I go back down. I aim the pubic bone down towards the foam roller. I'm going to bend one leg. And again, my hips are at 45 degrees now. Lift the leg that you're going to be rolling, lift it up in the air, and don't have it bent and all noodle-like. Straighten it out so that you can get to your hip. In fact, you can even lift it up slightly, and then you can roll the pocket. So if you're too far up, you're gonna roll the bony bit of the hip. Don't do that. You wanna come forward. So you're more like rolling the groin area, or like I said, where the pocket of your pants are. So rolling back and forth, and make sure that that leg doesn't start to flop around and go all noodly on you. So keep it straight, or else it'll be hard to actually get that tensor fascia lata release, okay? So again, you can put this hand down, and just to give yourself a little bit of a help. So all my pushing is happening with this leg, my pusher leg, the bent leg with the foot on the ground. The other leg is up. It's just trying to open up that hip so you can get a better release. So I'm gonna let you guys do the other side because I don't wanna flip around and do that side now. So the next area that we're gonna do, again, an area that's really commonly missed, is the adductors. So we're going to do the inside of the thigh. We're going to place the foam roller lengthwise on your mat, and you're going to lie down beside it. Again, this one makes a big difference to how you're placing your body. You're almost going to be in a plank-like position. So lay down beside your bolster, bend your top leg, put the middle of the thigh on your bolster. You're actually going to take the leg and just sort of bring it forward. So I'm on the middle of my thigh. I'm going to rotate my body now until my body is parallel-ish to the floor. So I'm almost in a plank position. Can you see that? So this leg now, your straight leg, is the pushing leg. Tuck your toes under if you can. Lift your body up. And now all your weight, which is what you need weight between, where you're rolling and the foam roller. You need some weight on it, or else if it's too light, you're not gonna get it. I'll see a lot of clients kind of rolling around doing this for their adductors. If your shoulders are okay, you should be able to lift yourself up a little bit more. And this really doesn't, it's not a total waste of time, but it's really not gonna help as much. So some of you have really, really tight adductors, and definitely this can help. But once you've done that a few times, give this a go. Now this will really start to open up those adductors and get into those tight areas. And the adductors hold a lot of stress. They hold a lot of muscle knots in there, okay? So you're gonna be rolling back and forth, and a lot of clients, especially up towards the groin, it's a bit of a doozy. And then towards the knee, you'll find for sure some trigger points in there, like muscle knots that are quite uncomfortable. Okay, so again, I'll let you guys do that by yourself, the other side. Next, I wanna go and do your hamstring. Now hamstrings are notoriously hard because the way I tend to teach it, you need to be quite flexible. But let's show you a couple different ways with that too. So placing your foam roller, you're going to put both legs over top. Now again, this one doesn't get very much weight on top of the hamstring. So people who have tight hamstrings, they often can't bend forward very easily, right? Because they're tight. So what you can do if your wrists are okay is you can lift up, you can even cross one leg and then roll back and forth on your hamstring. Now, my hamstrings aren't too tight, so I'm thinking like, oh, this isn't really, I can't really feel too much going on here. Look at a few little points. And that may be the same with you. So if that's the case, you can try and get yourself a little bit more like a swing coming over your hamstrings. But again, you have to be fairly flexible. Hamstrings are hard to release. Now, with some of my dancers and some of the clients I have that are a little bit more flexible, I do it this way. So this is tricky. You're gonna take your leg, bend it. So one leg is bent, one leg is still over top of the foam roller. I'm now gonna come up, so I'm in a hurdle position. And so I'm going over a hurdle. And now I can get a lot of weight over top of that leg. So this leg, I want to be able to show you so you can see it in the light. This leg is pushing and this leg is releasing. Now, I was just thinking some of you might just keep on going that way. So do be careful with this one because it's like I said, it's really hard to release the hamstrings, and I do not want any of you to hurt yourself. So if you're struggling with this, then just go back to the other one, or maybe utilize a different hamstring stretch. But if you have the flexibility, or you've been doing this for a little while and you wanted one that was a little bit more intense, then this is the way that you can release your hamstring, okay? And again, to make it a little bit more challenging, you can put a bit more weight on the outside hamstring, okay? And then we can put a bit more weight on the inside of your hamstring, so you can kind of roll around on it. Okay, again, you can pause the video and do the other side if you like. Now we're going to do your iliotibial band. Took me a second there. So your iliotibial band, which I think for most people is the most uncomfortable one to do. So there's sort of 3 different ways that you can do this one. One that will not be quite as painful as the others. So the iliotibial band comes from the side of the hip, comes right along like a seam along your pants and attaches just below the knee, okay? Now, we don't want to roll this knee area, okay? So never go down and roll that. It can really be very painful, very problematic. You could actually hurt yourselves. So you're going to roll. Let's do the other side, just to switch it up. So we're going to go here. Now, the easiest way of doing this, and I'm telling, when your iliotibial band is sore, this is really quite painful, okay? I get it. So I'm putting a lot of my weight, because it hurts many clients to even lay like this. What they do is they start folding up like a little pretzel, so they find it too painful to actually keep the bottom leg straight. So what am I looking for here? I've got my top leg bent, My foot's on the ground and I'm gonna be pushing with that leg. My body weight is on my right, well, right now because I'm doing my right side, my right bent elbow and my left hand, but my elbow is not down the ground. And I'm rolling back and forth along the iliotibial band. And you might feel it go like thunk, 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 like along as it hits these kind of muscle knots and these trigger points. So you're gonna roll back and forth. So the easiest way is actually allowing your foot to rest a little bit on the ground. Okay, so it's not so intense for you. So you've got a lot of your weight above and some below. The next stage is where you have the leg floating. Then you can take both legs on top and then roll, okay? So this is the most intense because again, we have the legs stacked on each other, right? It's like the ice bucket challenge. Can you do this? It's really quite uncomfortable. And then the fourth and final one is actually getting your weight up onto both hands and then rolling out into the iliotibial band. So your legs are stacked. So that one, like I said, is quite uncomfortable. Some of my clients, they literally only get to 10 seconds, 20 seconds, because it's so uncomfortable. But do know that as you roll, it does minimize, the discomfort minimizes, and you can go for a little bit longer. Again, I tend to only go for 1 minute, maybe 2 minutes per area. So let's say left glute max, that upper glute area, and then right side, etc. And I don't tend to teach rolling every day. I know that many of you may feel really good to roll every day, and that's fine. But when we start rolling, sometimes it's so painful, we can actually be bruising our tissue. So you can feel bruised afterwards for a day or so. So I tend to say every second day, or even every 3 days. So don't try and push yourself initially, just sort of gently work into it. And you don't have to do all of them at once. You might decide to do your front hip, that tensor fascia lata one, and your quads one day. Then the next day you do your glute max and you do your external rotators. So you can still keep your foam roller going every day, but you just do a couple, right? So that you're not doing them all on the same day, which can be quite hard on your arms because your arms have to take a lot of your weight. And it can take a long time because you're rolling every area. So maybe just do a couple or 2 or 3 the one day and then do alternate ones the next day so that you're not rolling every single day. So I hope that's helped. I have had quite a few clients want me to clarify this one. I did do a foam roller video, but I think I want to really explain all the muscles that attach onto the hips. So give that a go. I hope you do well, and let me know in the comments below whether that was helpful for you and whether you want me to clarify any other sort of ones that I've done or ones that I could be doing. So have a great day, have fun with that, and all the best.